What's going on, everyone? So a very different video from normal. If you haven't checked me out before, I've been making videos on Star Wars Unlimited for 2 months now, daily. And I want to give my thoughts on Star Wars Unlimited as a whole. Things I enjoy, or reasons I should say, why I think the game is successful, and whether or not overall it's worth your time and money to invest into the game. And I say invest not as like make money, but invest as in, is it worth, the time and money to try to have some fun with the game? And well, TLDR here, or spoiler alert for those of you that don't want to wait to the end of the video or don't want to watch the whole thing, I 100% think it is worth my time and money. Otherwise, I wouldn't be making videos every day, and I also wouldn't be affiliated with TCG, giving you all, a link to go ahead and pick up cards for this game if I didn't believe it was worthwhile. Does that mean that everything about this game is perfect and you should buy every single card no matter what the price is? No. But there are some things that I enjoy, some things outside of the game that I enjoy, and overarching themes that I enjoy, as well as, maybe some critiques here and there. So strap in, guys. Let's get talking. Starting us off here with Star Wars itself. This is one of the biggest reasons as to why this card game in particular has popped off. We've seen like Lorcana, which also is part of a very popular IP in Disney in general. We've also seen Flesh and Blood, which is a little bit of its own thing, and heck, even recent Magic sets with the Universes Beyond. And that's one of the big things that I'll be comparing to in this video, since I'm a long-term Magic player more so than any other trading card game. In the history of trading card games, I've played Magic for definitely longer than anything else. And one of the reasons why Magic's sets in the last year, particularly one of the sets in Universes Beyond, was so popular is because it tacked on Lord of the Rings IP. And Star Wars is no exception here. One of the reasons why this game is successful is because it has the Star Wars IP attached to it. Now, we've seen, other Star Wars trading card games like Star Wars Destiny not be as successful as Star Wars Unlimited here. And there's reasons for that. And I'm not going to directly talk about Star Wars Destiny, but for purposes of this video, we will be talking about why I think that some of the card design, card style, and also, card, I guess you'd say, intuitiveness about the game is some of the reasons why. But the game is going to pull in a ton of players, including myself, just for the simple reason that it is Star Wars. I remember playing this game in TwitchCon before the game was released, like 6 months before the game was released, in paper, and I picked up a deck. I literally went there to experience TwitchCon. I stepped aside to play a Magic event. Next to that Magic event was Star Wars Unlimited, and immediately I saw Star Wars. I was like, I'm gonna give it a try. Don't really care if it's a card game that I've never played before. Don't really care if it's bad or whatever, or maybe it's never going to amount to anything. I just want to sit down and I want to see what they're doing with Star Wars in card form. And that pulls in just a ton of people. Regardless of anything else, people are going to be interested in checking out their Star Wars particular interests in card form. And that's a huge bonus and a huge reason as to why the game will continue to be successful, is people are going to want to be seeing or are interested in all the new Star Wars content in card form, or some old nostalgic episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in card form, or heck, maybe in the future we'll get some old Republic content. Still holding out hope for Revan at some point in the future of Star Wars Unlimited. But that's going to be a huge reason as to why this game, and why I also personally enjoy, and why many personally enjoy Star Wars Unlimited. But that's not really what actually pulled me into the game at the end of the day. Yes, it got me in the door. Yes, it is a major reason as to why I enjoy a lot of the cards. But the other thing is, when I did pick up a card and I did start playing with this game, one of the big things that has pulled a lot of people in and kind of stuck with it is it's actually really intuitive to pick up a card and analyze it. For anyone who's played a TCG game before, or TCG before, notice a few key things about the card and immediately start to understand what is going on, right? Power, toughness, these things are very noticeable, and something that you can look at a card and kind of intuitively guess that, hey, this looks like the attack power of a card. This looks like how much damage it can take. You can see the cost in the top left, and this is something that, well, is again something that you could kind of look at and intuitively surmise. The keywords oftentimes, well, they'll be explained here, but also you could kind of look at a card and say, oh, deal 1 damage. That makes sense. Draw a card. Understand that, right? There's a lot about the design of Star Wars Unlimited that isn't really applicable to a lot of other trading card games, right? I picked up Flesh and Blood and tried it out. Lorcana, tried that out. And it's not nearly as, I guess you say, clean and intuitive, at least in my opinion, for Star Wars Unlimited. Again, this whole video is my opinion, so, you know, you're welcome to disagree in the comment section down below. But things about the Star Wars Unlimited cards and the design they decided to go with, definitely, at least in my play group and the people I've spoken to, as well as myself, see a card and can really start to understand it just at a base level, which is really helpful for bringing in new players. But at the end of the day, if your game doesn't have a lot of depth, you might push away some of the more competitive players. And that's where it gets a little bit interesting, as there's a lot of very key differences that you won't start to understand until you understand the rules of Star Wars Unlimited. Things like, what does ground mean versus space? What are these icons on the left? These are aspect icons. And, you know, if you didn't read the rules, you might not notice that they have a aspect penalty, so it increases the cost if you're not running the specific leader and base, right? All of that little sentence there, if you haven't played Star Wars Unlimited, might not mean anything to you. Power, toughness, cost of a card, these things might mean something to you. Damage, drawing cards, these things also might mean something to you. But aspect penalties, ground arena, space arena, you know, these things probably don't mean much to you unless you understand the Star Wars rules. And that is where the depth comes in, as there's a lot of, you know, variety and options within just one set because of these aspect rules, and because of the ground / space arenas, and because of all these slightly more complicated mechanics that, again, encourage a little bit more thought when building your decks and competing against opponents. So all that to say, the card design, clean, very intuitive, yet also has a decent amount of depth, even with only one set available to you. One of the biggest things that I was worried about when I was diving into this game, and even at the beginning of starting to make videos, was, I wonder how far I can go. How many videos can I make? How many videos until I feel like I'm repeating myself and building the same deck, or, you know, running out of ideas? And I don't really feel like I've reached that point. I still feel like the meta is, albeit slowly, evolving, and there are still decks to be made and still combos to kind of acquire and still options to be explored. Such a card such as Search Your Feelings, I feel like, has gotten a big not even resurgence, but a big uptick because of, well, initially this being kind of weak, and, you know, tutoring for a card or searching your deck for a card and picking out something from your deck seemed a little bit too slow for the cost and all this stuff. But turns out this card is actually quite playable and quite good in certain shells and certain decks associated with it. You know, a card like, I don't know, Boba Fett or Darth Vader or Overwhelming Barrage seemed insurmountable at the beginning of the game, and yet it seems that we can consistently beat these cards. So there are certainly levels of depth, and we haven't really dove into it. I guess we have a little bit, but we haven't really flushed it completely out, even with only having one set available to us. And that's all about, you know, just simply the card design and the kind of intuitive nature of it, and I guess you could say slightly the gameplay. But I want to talk about specifically the actual games themselves. One of the big things that I particularly enjoy is the fact that it's decently fast paced while also kind of keeping you in the action. The action system in which one player takes a turn and then following up with another player, instead of one player taking a whole turn, doing all their action, spending all their resources, and then another player doing it, kind of changes the whole dynamic of, you know, interacting with your opponent. Keeps you on your toes, keeps you ready to, you know, play something and ready to interact and reanalyze a board state, which I found to be quite enjoyable. It was really weird, you know, especially coming from Magic and even mechanics such as, you know, being able to attack creatures or to attack units on the battlefield. Of course, we see this in like Hearthstone, for example, if you play like online trading card games. But it's not something that I particularly, since again I mainly had played Magic before, was used to, but quickly I got used to the action system and all the different mechanics, and I felt like it's actually been really enjoyable. The fast-paced gameplay and being able to get through a lot of the games extremely quickly has been really, really enjoyable. But again, that's not all. As I mentioned, I wanted to talk about the cards, I wanted to talk about the gameplay, I wanted to talk about, the IP and some of the larger overarching things. But one of the biggest things, and this might just be because I like to make videos and I also like to be a part of the community, is how active the developers of Star Wars Unlimited seem to be. They run their own YouTube channel. They regularly play, designer games. They showcase new cards on a daily basis. They are constantly giving access to spoilers to various different people, me not included yet, but maybe in the future. But random people out there just getting access to exclusive spoiler cards. All of these things are extremely promising to interact with the community and overall get the community involved. And I've really, really appreciated that. Even if I'm not directly involved, I do feel like I'm part of the development of Star Wars Unlimited. Maybe this won't be the case in the future if the game gets too big, but as far as us only having one set, right? This is only with one set, but developing the second set and seeing all the spoilers come in, it makes me excited every day to wake up, check out the new cards, and see what I can come up with immediately. While also, watching the cards be played potentially, or just watching the developers interact and talk about Star Wars Unlimited. It feels like every day they're offering more and more, maybe just chatting about the game, even if it isn't necessarily something new. Maybe it's something that we just were able to talk about and what their thoughts were in the past. And those things are extremely valuable to someone, especially someone who's making videos, but also someone who wants to be a part of the community. And along that note, seeing everyone excited about all the different Star Wars related cards and what their favorite cards are and what people are coming up with is also extremely, extremely fun. But that's, again, not all. One of the other things is it seems to have taken a pretty nice competitive route. And I'm not going to lie in saying that is extremely exciting to me. It's not for everyone. And they're even developing more casual formats, more so in Twin Suns. And of course, if we get more cards in the future, which we will, those types of modes where we're playing Singleton and sort of like Commander from Magic, these types of game modes are going to get a lot better and a lot more enjoyable for your casual players. And it's certainly just a fun game to play casually because you get to play with all these Star Wars cards, but the competitive scene is by far blooming and extremely exciting to keep up with. As I've spent many Sundays, many weekends in the past 2 months just watching Star Wars Unlimited for like 9 hours straight on Twitch because of a random cash tournament being played and a lot of people being interested in it. You have people casting these cash tournaments. You have people, actually going and traveling these cash tournaments. You have people, interacting and sharing what they've learned and what their thoughts are and sharing meta reports. I mean, I've done it myself and I've gone to any event that I could in my area, although I can't necessarily travel to them. I try to be as competitive as I possibly can, participating as much as I can online and, seeing people genuinely trying to get better, genuinely caring about their, performance and trying to win. That is something that's really, really exciting and healthy for the game. And I'm hoping that that's going to grow, and I'm almost certain it will for the future. All that is exciting for me and conducive to Star Wars Unlimited lasting as, well, it's already performed quite successfully. The last thing, and this might be a little bit more of a minor thing for some of you, it seems to be, well, that they prepared for a lot of people to enjoy the games a little bit better than, the people that, for example, Lorcana did, with supply issues being an absolute nightmare. And yet the game seems so popular that they even had some supply issues and are still having some supply issues for the first set because of how popular it is. So regardless of what I said before, the game is popular and might be one of, if not the best TCG released in the past few years, at least from a popular standpoint. And that, to me, is also a very exciting prospect as someone who does participate in the community and does find interest in a lot of people participating. So, well, should you be spending money? Should you be picking up the cards? I absolutely think so. And if nothing else, it'll be fun to, play some tabletop games with Boba Fett and the Mandalorian and, you know, Han Solo and Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, no matter what, you know, saying I'm gonna go ahead and play Darth Vader, that's definitely a different feeling from playing, you know, an Ulamog in Magic. It just doesn't hit the same when you're not playing with Star Wars cards, at least for me. So I do think the game is going to stick around, and I'm extremely hopeful for the future. And well, I'll be back tomorrow and the following day and the day after making more Star Wars Unlimited content, because I do believe in the game. And well, I don't really have too much to critique yet. I will say that the time between sets is a little unfortunate. Not that, you know, it should be extremely fast or anything. It's just that I am excited for the new set. And well, when we do get it, which is coming up decently quickly, I will be excited to dive in, and maybe that's when some critiques will happen, when we start to see potentially them balancing out some of the cards as we get more and more cards, and what they decide to do with the direction of the game. And as we get more and more sets, that sort of idea will get flushed out, as right now we only have, you know, 260 or whatever cards to access. So we can't really make too many judgments about that. So overall, very, very happy, very excited playing Star Wars Unlimited. And well, I hope you all are as well, especially if you made it to this point in the video, because otherwise you wasted 16 minutes of your life seeing someone talk about a card game that you're never going to play and you're not going to enjoy. So I hope you enjoy the game, because I guess this video wasn't really worth watching if you made it to this point. Otherwise, thanks for watching, everyone. And I hope to see you all tomorrow for another video. We're going to be talking about Boba Blue, which I've been playing a ton lately. See you then.